It's First Maccabees 1:1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, and the first over Greece, and made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him. Whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up, and he gathered a mighty strong host, and ruled over countries and nations and kings, who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick, and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and patriot his kingdom among them while he was yet alive, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bear rule over every one of his and his servants bear rule every one in his place. And after his death they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. All right, now I want to link that up with a couple prophecies. Firstly, before we really get into it, of course, in the book of Daniel, starting with Daniel 7:6. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Now we know that leopard is representing Alexander. Now why is that? Because Alexander was known, number one, for wearing a leopard skin upon his head. And then what happened when he parted his kingdom, as it said right there in Maccabees 1, he parted it unto his 4 successors. You know, they each had their own part of the kingdom into 4 parts. That's the 4 heads and the 4 wings, which is spoke about historically happening here in the book of Maccabees. And you can look in pretty much any history book that speaks about Alexander the Greek. It'll tell you that. And then I'm going to hit the next chapter, Daniel 8. It's Daniel 8:4. That's a lot. Yeah, Daniel 8:4. I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, but he did according to his will and became great. And as I was considering, behold, a he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground, and the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns. Okay, now that ram that had 2 horns represents the Medo-Persian Empire. One horn was higher than the other. The Persian horn was higher than the Medio horn. Okay, it came to the ram that had the 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran into him in the fury of his power. So, like it said here in the book of the Maccabees, it said that the Medo-Persians, they were going to all the northward, southward, westward, eastward, and nobody could basically take it down. Then came this he-goat, which represents Alexander the Great in the Greek Empire, and it thrust through him in fury, right? It's verse 7. And I saw him come also unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns. So Alexander, he was the one who broke down the Medo-Persian Empire, as was prophesied by Daniel here in the book of Daniel. So, you know, proving that the Bible is a history book, and the prophecies of the Bible come to pass. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and he was strong, and the great horn was broken, and for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. Again, this is the same thing. You know, Alexander, he reigned for them 12. He took out the Medo-Persians, reigned for 12 years. He died, and he had 4 to reign in his place. Okay, he divided the kingdom into 4 parts. This is exactly the history that's being talked about here in the beginning of the Maccabees. Okay, but I'm gonna skip up here to verse 11 here in First Maccabees. First Maccabees 1:11. In those days went out there of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein, that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. So, you know, that happened, you know, and that's like the foundation of how we became, some of our people became Gentiles. But also, you know, this happened in Haiti, to where you know, you had after the so-called the revolt was successful and the so-called white man was taken down, you had certain of them later on in history that was trying to sell out, get back in bed with the white man. And we're gonna kind of touch on that, you know, through historical facts here in a second. But basically, verses 11 to 15 basically kind of are the foundation to us becoming Gentiles, and then Paul and others being sent to us in the New Testament, and waking up the Gentiles, not just of course the tribe of Levi, but of you know, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, to the whole entire southern kingdom who was in occupying Judea at that time. I'm gonna skip here to verse 41. Maccabees, First Maccabees 1 and 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his kingdom, his whole kingdom, that all should be one people, and every one should leave his laws, so that all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. So that's how you had our people becoming the Greeks. Because sometimes when you look in the New Testament, you look up the word for Greek. A lot of times it's Hellenistes, which refers to a Greek-speaking Jew. So an actual Israelite that basically became a Greek, or like it said here, they became one nation. They consented to do as the heathen, thus becoming the heathen. That's why they refer to as the Greeks, the Corinthians, the Romans, the Galatians, Ephesians, and such. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto the idols and profaned the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days. So that's exactly what happened. You know, not only some of our people just basically volunteered to do it, and some it was pretty much forced on us, then becoming like the heathen. You see what I'm saying? That's why you have the Gentiles of the New Testament. It's being spoken about right here. Verse 46, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people. Because the holy people were polluted by doing the way of the heathen and becoming the heathens, essentially. Verse 47, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. Exactly the whole goal of this devil, this so-called white man, the Edomites at this time, who calling themselves the Greeks, was to make us forget, you know, our covenant that the Heavenly Father made with us, and the law, and our original ways and customs. Verse 50, and whosoever would do not according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. In the selfsame manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, every one that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land. Exactly, and this is the same thing as happened when they took us in slavery from West Africa and brought us, you know, to the Americas. They did the same thing where they beat our customs, even our West African customs, which were off, but some of which had a lot of foundations from our true nationality in Israel, you know, which I'm gonna kind of get into as well. But a lot of the West African customs while we was in West Africa, we had some of our similar customs, and a lot of the different West African customs. When you look up, even there's a map, which a little one in the post production, I put it up. It says Kingdom of Judah, which shows that the Kingdom of Judah were dwelling in what they called Negro land, which was West Africa, where they took all their slaves from. You see what I'm saying? So they knew that it was us over there, and we, to a point, knew that it was us over there. Like you have groups like the Igbo, which Igbo means Hebrew. You have groups like the Ashanti, which means the people from Ashan, which Ashan was a city of Judah, which the Levites was in. You know, and things like that. You had Dohimi, which is where the Haitians come from, which is modern day Benin. The capital was called Aladah, which Aladah is the same as Judah, Yahweh, but just instead of saying the proper name of the Most High Yahweh, saying the title Allah, which means power. So Aladah, praise be to the power, which we were, of course, of the kingdom of Judah, man. You know, as it says on that very map. So, you know, just facts like that, show that. But when they took us over here, they try to beat it up out of us. They try to give us their languages. That's why, you know, you got Levi speaking French, and Benjamin and Judah, for the most part, speaking English. you know, or patois, which is just a dialect of English. You got some Benjamites that speak Spanish, some Benjamites speaking Dutch, you know, and such. But, you know, basically beating our who we were out of us, you know, even from that point. You understand what I'm saying? Just like they did to the Northern Kingdom that was over here, because the Northern Kingdom's languages that were over here were pretty much Hebrew, broken forms of Hebrew, and then they beat into them English and Spanish and whatnot, and Portuguese. You see what I'm saying? The same things that they did to us on this side, they were doing to us in this time. And what did it say? Verse 49, to the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. Exactly. So to the end that we might forget who we were. That was the whole point of this white devil, to make us to forget who we were. You see what I'm saying? But I'm gonna skip here to First Maccabees, the 2nd chapter. I'm gonna start at verse 1. First Maccabees 2:1. In those days arose Matthias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Jarib from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. And he had 5 sons: Johanan, called Cadius, Simon, called Thasi, Judas, who was called Maccabeus, which means the hammer. The word Maccabee means the hammer. Verse 5, Eleazar, called Avaran, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphis. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the land of the strangers? Her temple is become a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets, her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation hath not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman she has become a bond slave. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory, is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. To what end, therefore, shall we live any longer? Then Matthias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourned very sore. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city of Modin to take them sacrifice. And when many of Israel came unto them, Matthias also and his sons came together. Then answered the king's officers and said to Matthias on this wise, Thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore, come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done, yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem, so shalt thou and thine house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children be honored with silver and gold and many rewards. Then Matthias answered and spake with a loud voice, Though all nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers and give consent to his commandments, yet I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. The Most High forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. We will not hearken unto the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left. Now when he had left speaking these words, there came of the Jews in the sight of Now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment. Which thing when Matthias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to shew his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. And the king's commissioner, who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. Thus dealt he zealously for the law of the Most High, like as Phinehas did unto Zambri the son of Salom. Exactly. So what that was a reenactment of what happened. Well, not a reenactment, basically the same thing that happened in this situation here in Numbers, the 25th chapter, which we're going to get real quick. Numbers 25, starting at verse 6. This is Numbers 25 and starting at verse 6. And behold, one of the children of Israel came and brought unto his brethren a Midianitish woman in the sight of Moses and in the sight of all the congregation of the children of Israel, who were weeping before the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And when Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, saw it, he rose up from among the congregation and took a javelin in his hand. And when he went after the man of Israel into the tent and thrust both of them through the man of Israel and the woman through her belly. So the plague was stayed from the children of Israel. And those that died in the plague were 20 and 4,000. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Phinehas the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, the priest, have turned away my wrath from the children of Israel, while he was zealous for my sake among them, and I consumed not the children of Israel in my jealousy. Wherefore say, behold, I give unto him my covenant of peace, and he shall have it, and his seed after him, even the covenant of an everlasting priesthood, because he was zealous for his power, and made an atonement for the children of Israel. Now the name of the Israelite that was slain, even that was slain with the Midianitish woman, was Zimri the son of Salu, a prince of the chief house of the Simeonites. So what happened in that situation was the same thing that happened in this situation. You had basically a Levite in the case of Phinehas and Matthias Maccabee, which was the descendant of him, proving reincarnation in the scriptures did the exact same thing, to where Zimri in that case, what he was doing was dealing with that Midianitish woman. It wasn't so much him dealing with the Midianitish woman that was the issue, but it was him going after the ways of the Midianites that was the issue. The same thing in the situation of the Maccabees, that Jake was trying to go after the ways of the Greeks. So what happened? The same thing Matthias did was the same thing Phinehas did. He slew that Jake, and he slew the officer. It just like Phinehas slew the Jake, and he slew the Midianitish woman that was leading the Jake to follow after those ways. You see what I'm saying? So this is proof of reincarnation in the Bible, and that you don't change your lot. Your lot. It was the Levites in the book of Numbers that did that. It's the Levites here in the book of Maccabees that did that, and then it was the Levites later, which we're gonna get into here in a second with the history during the Haitian Revolt and other revolts that also did that. Okay, I'm gonna keep going here in First Maccabees 2 though. This is First Maccabees 2. And I'm going to read 27 to 29 for this. First Maccabees 2 and 27. And Matthias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. So he and his sons fled into the mountains, and left all that ever they had in the city. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there. All right, now I'm gonna read this excerpt from history. Real quick, violent conflicts began between white colonists and black slaves were common in Saint Domingue, which was basically the name for the entire island of Hispaniola, which Haiti and the Dominican Republic now occupy. And bands of runaway slaves known as Maroons entrenched themselves in basins in the colony's mountains and forests. So this is the same thing that happened. Matthias and his sons and those that wanted to follow him, they revolted against these goddamn white people, these devils, these Greeks, and they went into the mountains, into the wilderness. The same thing happened in Haiti when the revolt first started happening in Haiti. It said they entrenched themselves in bastions in the colonies, mountains, and forests. Man, it's the same exact thing, and that was via countrystudies.us/Haiti/9.htm. So I'm gonna cite all my historical references so brothers could go and cross-reference and do their own research as well. I'm gonna keep going here in First Maccabees 2. I'm gonna read starting verse 30. First Maccabees 2 and 30. Both they and their children, and their wives and their cattle, because afflictions increased sore upon them. Now when it was told the king's servants and the host that was at Jerusalem in the city of David that certain men who had broken the king's commandment were gone down into the secret places in the wilderness, they pursued after them a great number, and having overtaken them, they encamped against them, and made war against them on the Sabbath day. And they said unto them, let that which ye have done hitherto suffice, come forth, and do according to the commandments of the king, and ye shall live. But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day. So when they gave them battle with all speed, howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stopped the places where they lay hid, but said, let us die all in our innocency. Heaven and earth shall testify for us that ye have put us to death wrongfully. So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath, and they slew them with their wives and children and their cattle to the number of 1,000 people. Now, basically, that in itself was really a curse that befell our people, especially the tribe of Levi. And I'm gonna reference that here in the book of Genesis. It's Genesis 49 and at 5. Simeon and Levi are brethren, instruments of cruelty are in their habitation. In their habitations. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, unto their assembly, mine honor, be not thou united. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down a wall. Now, in what happened, as we all know the story, Simeon and Levi basically tricked those Hamites into getting circumcised, and while they were recovering from their circumcision, went and slew that whole village. Now the Lord said because of their fierce anger, He was going to turn that back to us, which is right here in verse 7. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and in their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. So our wrath and our anger was fierce and cruel. Therefore, the Lord made it a curse unto us. And what do? We took advantage of them by having them get circumcised and got over on them. And then later in Haiti, what did the Simeon and Levi got together on Christmas Day when they was all full after eating their Christmas dinner and rose up against them crackers and killed them when they were weak. Now the same thing, now it came back to backfire on us and was a curse unto us in this situation, because what happened? The Lord had it to where they came to us on the Sabbath day. You had some of us that refused to fight on the Sabbath day, in which they took advantage of us knowing it was the Sabbath day and knew that we likely wouldn't fight and got over on us then. You see what I'm saying? So that's a curse really coming on to us. You see what I'm saying? But in that case, they died in their innocency then. But as the Lord said here, that it was a curse upon unto them. So they did kill us. The crackers had no reason to kill us. They killed us wrongfully. But, you know, in the eyes of the Most High, it was Him, you know, executing judgment upon us for prior iniquities, like He usually does, man. Because this so-called white man, we ain't done nothing to this so-called white man, yet he's doing all these things to us. But the Lord is allowing it to happen to us, you know, as a punishment unto us. But this, in His eyes, but as far as the so-called white man goes, he's going to have to answer for everything that he's done to us. You see what I'm saying? But I'm going to keep going here in 1 Maccabees 2. I'm going to just keep going at 39.